nice to play a video game that's all about the story, the character development, and awesome gameplay? A game that turns its back on the grind? Well, best keep looking, because to me, Beyond Two Souls is beyond a joke. So yes, you want to make a video game with graphics so good that people will be confused whether they are playing a video game or watching a documentary featuring David Attenborough. And I get that in video games, people are finally trying to make really emotional, engaging stories. And you know what? I'm all for that. I want to feel more empathy and emotional attachment to characters, so I care more about them dying than just losing a few gems, rings or coins. But for the love of God, if you're going to do these things, then you have to make it so a person wants to play the game. Make it enjoyable, make it fun, just make it a game, not a series of cutscenes fueled by quick-time events, the most annoying and quite frankly most repulsive of gameplay mechanics. First off, the way Beyond Two Souls plays feels like you're dragging a dead donkey carcass behind you wherever you go. No matter what you're doing or how adrenaline fueled the situation, you can bet your bottom dollar that Jodie will be ambling along to save the day at a leisurely pace, begging for help from the X button, twirling your thumbsticks or throwing your controller up in the air. By the way, the protagonist's name is Jodie. Quite often in the game I would wonder what was going on down corridors, but as I didn't have half an hour to make my way down and back again in order to find out if there was another meaningless conversation with a sub-character, I have probably missed some subplot to the game. Whilst you're ambling around and during cutscenes, you're given a few points of interest indicated by little white dots, and when this happens you have to push the right analog stick in a certain path. But the game doesn't give you any real indication of which way it would like you to push your analog stick, leaving Jodie sat there with a gormless look on her face as you try to find out which way you should be pressing the thumbsticks. That is, if you can stand still long enough for the prompt to register. As a result of the numb and unresponsive controls, you will find Jodie keeps walking or understeering as you're trying to get her to the next plot device. As a slight mix-up to this gameplay, you're given the ability to take control of Aiden the Entity, a ghost-like creature that is attached to Jodie. You would think that flying around the scenery as a ghost, knocking over objects and throwing people away would be a fun experience, but yet again this is another thing that it seems Beyond Two Souls just couldn't quite get right. The fact that Aiden is tethered to Jodie with some glowing purple string limits the distance you can travel within the level to an unspecified distance that will suit the developers at any given point in time. Also, with limited interactions to the environments, you kinda feel as though you're stuck to a linear solution to every problem. At one point, whilst breaking into a shop for some medical supplies, I scouted out the area to see if there was an alarm that I could disable as Aiden. However, it wasn't until after I opened the doors that this opportunity became available, and so the police were alerted and we had to run away. Not that this had anything to do with the scene's outcome, but it just shows you how linear the game really is. You can't interact with the alarm unless the door's open, but once the door's open you just want to walk in anyway. The story in Beyond Two Souls jumps between random moments in Jodie's life. You can amble around as an 8-year-old mute girl expressing your emotions by rolling your eyes, shrugging your shoulders and grunting. Or you can amble around as a psychopathic adolescent with more emotional imbalance than your average glee club. Oh, and can someone tell me, is this normal? Eventually, about 80% of the way through the game, you stop dragging your metaphorical donkey and learn to run around on some Metal Gear Sam Fisher style missions. This attempts to create a more exciting experience, but realistically these areas are just a series of linear events fueled by more QuickTime events. But I digress. Overall, the story would be engaging and deep if it didn't feel so disjointed. Taking control of a 20-year-old Jodie for 10 minutes, then an 8-year-old Jodie for another 10 minutes, and then suddenly a 17-year-old Jodie is a little bit disorientating. This disorientation makes it hard for the audience to fully engage and find an emotional connection to Jodie that I feel was necessary in order to fully enjoy Beyond Two Souls. In fact, I think one of the main problems with Beyond Two Souls is the character Jodie herself. No matter what moment in her life you join the story, she seems to be walking around throwing childish tantrums and acting like a menopausal T-Rex. And if I'm honest with you here, her whole character is so male dependent it completely undoes any feeling that she should be a strong and independent female. Graphically this game is fantastic, the facial animations are something to be marvelled. Though a little plastic and wooden in comparison to the real thing, the digital models of Ellen Page and Willem Dafoe are mind-blowing and realistic. And that's not all. At some points during the game you can mistake some scenes as being real life. The detail not only to the characters but to the scenery, whether it be in the middle of the desert or a snow-covered urban road, is breathtaking. My favourite scene is this one here. On the TV, the detail in the hat and Jodie's face had me honestly surprised at what Quantic Dream have been able to pull off on the PlayStation 3, and though I wish I could say the entire game was as awesome as this, I just can't. There are graphical issues throughout and the closed-off level design can be kind of annoying. If designers don't want a player to go down a road or around a corner, then don't give them the option to in order to make your levels look bigger. Put up a fence or a blockade, not some ankle-high box to stop the player, or even the dreaded invisible wall. So because of all of this, I can only honestly suggest that people try the game. Get it from a rental service, or even borrow it from that unsuspecting friend who pre-ordered the title and wishes he'd spent his money on better things. Thanks for watching guys, I really hope you enjoyed the Rage Frenzy this week, and if you did, slap that like button and tell your friends. Leave any positive or negative comments in the section down below, and hey, why not give me a follow on Twitter to be one of the first to see the next videos. I'll catch you next time on Immersed Gamer.